Hi and welcome to my video on the Hydrangea and Clover tessellations. Now, both of these are designed by Shuzo Fujimoto, and there's plenty of tutorials on YouTube on how to fold each of these. So this is a single hydrangea flower and this is a 3x3 clover tessellation. Now I've been folding these for about 2 years. And there's endless amounts of things you can do with them. I post photos on Instagram very regularly of just variations of these two designs. So really what I want to get across in this video is how these two designs are actually exactly the same. Yeah, they're completely the same. On the back of this one, on the back of one hydrangea, you'll see a square. That square is exactly the same fold as one of these hydrangea tiles. On the back of a hydrangea you'll see these little petals, and they are exactly the same as what's on the front of this. The difference between these two, how they're made, is around how these tiles are layered. So for a single hydrangea there's just one. But on my previous video I showed you how to fold a 2x2 hydrangea, and on the back you'll see 2x2 clover tiles. See, these ones are flat. In a traditional clover they will be stacked like a pyramid. So this one here is made up of 13 tiles that you can see there stacked up. Now these can be reordered in any way you like, whether that's as you fold it or after it's been folded. You can actually reorder these tiles around. So as you'll see in a 2x2 hydrangea, they're all flat there. In say a 3x3 hydrangea, see 3x3 clover tiles all flat. Now these extra tiles are still visible just in between each intersection. There's another 4 tiles, so it's the same design. As you can see with the hydrangea, there is just a bit, a tessellation, there's a bit extra on each end, and that's for you to fold these down to make petals. So, as I said, you can reorder these tiles in any way you like. There is the same design, just reordered so they are flat, and that's the basis of folding hydrangea tessellations. There is the exact same design with those 4 visible, and that one's sunk behind, which you'll see is exactly the same as this. And if we flip this over, there's 4 hydrangea flowers that you could just fold in from there. And one last one is that there. You can do it as steps. So this is exactly the same. There is no difference in these. It's just reordering them. And once you can reorder them and get them to flat, so if you can fold them flat like this, you can then fold any number of hydrangea tilings you like, because that's just on the back. So what I want to get across in this video is then working out your grid sizes, what you'd actually need to fold your tilings. So with this is just a standard 3x3 clover tessellation, and this is on a 16x16 grid. This here is a 2x2 hydrangea, and this one is on a 14x14 grid. What I've worked out is a bit of a calculation on what grid size you would need for each design. So, as I said, you've got a 2x2 hydrangea is 14, 3x3 clover is 16, the 3x3 hydrangea, so it's got the 3x3 clover tessellation on the back, but it's 4 more grid size, so 2 on each side more than just a clover. So this is 16 and that's 20. Alright, so that's the grid sizes you need now to work out how to fold those grids. So the other handy thing I use a lot of, so standardly start with 2, so you get a piece of paper, you fold it in half. then you fold it into quarters, and then you fold it into eighths, 16ths, 32, 64, or 128 if you're going to make something enormous. So to say a piece of paper like this, 15 by 15 centimeters, I can fold it down to a 32 quite easily. You can do it to 64. That's just quite small, but it's the easiest way to do it. So the next way to do it is to divide the first thing by 3. So you get your piece of paper. What I actually do here is, so say this is a 15 by 15 centimeter square. What I'll do is I'll get out a ruler and I will mark this at 5 centimeters. Then I'll get that and I'll fold that up to there. And then that is perfect thirds. So I don't measure the second point. I just use it by dividing things in half, because that's how you get things very accurate. So once you've got something divided into 3, you can then halve each of these again, fold it in half, and you'll end up with 6, 12, 24, 48, 96. Fifth, same thing as I did with the third. I would get a piece of paper, and for a 15 by 15 you just measure that at 3, fold it up to that line, and now that's going to be 3, and this will be 2. So if you fold that into here, and that is perfectly divided into 5. So then in half again, 10, 20, 40, 80. So 7s you can do. I tend to not divide things by 7 so much. It's less accurate the larger you go, but you can still do it, especially if you're wanting to fold, say, a 14 by 14 grid. It's a good way to do that without wasting any paper. So speaking of wasting paper, what I do is basically find out which would be the closest to the grid size that I would want, and then fold that. And then if I have to cut it down, then that's fine. So this here would be a 4 by 4 clover tessellation. Would have been folded out of a 22 by 22 grid. Okay, so what I would have done, if I remember correctly, I would have just folded it, measured it in 3, 6, 12, get it to 24, and then cut off two squares on either side. So cut off 2 rows to get that. This here, 3 by 3 hydrangea, is 20, grid size of 20. So that's an easy one to do. You just divide it by, measure it by 5, 10, 20. You've got your 20 by 20 grid. So this table here, I forgot to explain, but this is how it works out. So clover, whatever size tiling you want, times it by 6 and minus 2. So easy thing, 3 by 3 times it by 6 is 18, minus 2 is 16. A 3 by 3 hydrangea, 3 by 3, 3 times 6, 18 plus 2 is 20. So that's how you can work out any larger size if you're game to fold much bigger than that. Great, so that's the start of how to fold different size tilings of the hydrangeas and clover. A well worth thing to have around when you're coming up with new designs. In my next video, I will show you how to use basically the same technique of folding a clover tessellation, which, as I said, is all over YouTube. There's plenty of tutorials. So the next video, I'm going to show you how to fold this to be flat. So that is the start to learn out how to fold different hydrangea tilings, is by folding them so they come out as flat tiles as opposed to pyramids. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed my video.